welcome to music class. Welcome back to my music room. We are going to do some work with our rhythms today, and by the end of our class, you are going to have written a song. Almost. Step one. First, we're going to start off reading some rhythms. We're going to keep it easy to start. So right now we are starting with our quarter note. Quarter note that we talked about last week is ta. Our pair of eighth notes is toddy. That's 2 sounds on 1 beat. Our quarter rest is 0 sounds on 1 beat. Let's try it out. 1, 2. Clap and say ta, ta, toddy, ta. Toddy, 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 ta. Toddy, ta, toddy, ta. Toddy, ta. Very good. Make sure that you're doing your thumbs up for our quarter rests. All right, we're going to add our half note to our patterns. Now remember that our half note is a longer note and it's 1 sound on 2 beats. Now when I clap a half note, I want to show both beats. So I'm going to go 2, and that shows the 2 parts of that sound, even though I'm still only making 1 sound. So let's try. We've got 3 half notes in this pattern. Let's try this page. 1, 2. Clap and say ta, ta, 2, ta, ta, 2, ta, ta, toddy, ta, toddy, ta, 2. Very good. All right, let's throw in a quarter rest. So now we're using all 4 things: a quarter rest, a quarter note, a pair of eighth notes, and a half note. 1, 2, clap and say toddy ta, ta, toddy ta, 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 toddy, toddy ta, toddy ta, 2. Good. Now we're going to take those 4 notes and we are going to turn them into a composition, and we're going to turn you into a composer. So, real quick, let me put my notes up here so that we remember what we're working with. First, I have my quarter note. I'm going to put my quarter note over here. And we already talked about that a quarter note is 1 sound on 1 beat. 1 sound. We have that ta that we hear when we clap a quarter note. So a quarter note is 1 sound on 1 beat. We have our pair of eighth notes. And a pair of eighth notes, remember, looks like this. And how many sounds is that pair of eighth notes? That's right. It's 2 sounds on 2 beats. 2 sounds. And we can see those 2 sounds. Ta, di. So it's split into 2 sounds. Next, we have our quarter rest. And our quarter rest is how many sounds? You're right, it's 0 sounds. Does that mean that it's 0 beats? Of course not. 0 sounds on 1 beat. And then the last thing that I have to add, the last note, is a half note. And if you see, my half note has this arrow added onto it. That's to help me remember that a half note is how many beats? That's right, 2 beats. A half note is 1 sound on 2 beats, and that makes it a longer sound, right? That's what our arrow is reminding us, that it is a long sound. It's 1 sound on 2 beats. Okay, now that I've got my rhythms that I'm going to use, I am going to take a piece of paper. This could be a piece of paper that's blank on both sides. It could be a colored piece of paper. It could be a piece of construction paper. It could be paper that has writing on either side or on one side. It just needs to be blank on one side. And we're going to turn this blank piece of paper into a composition. So I want you to take your piece of paper and I want you to turn it so it's long ways. And then we're going to fold it in half. I like to call that a hamburger fold because it's like a hamburger bun. That kind of makes me hungry now. Okay, now my paper is shaped like this. Okay, and I'm going to do another hamburger fold. So now I've taken my piece of paper from a rectangle to a square. Okay, We've got a square right here. Now I'm going to take this square and I'm going to turn it into a rectangle, which means I'm going to fold it in half again. See how I did that? I took my square and I turned it into a rectangle. Now guess what we're going to do with this rectangle? That's right, we're going to turn it into a square. So I'm going to take my rectangle and I'm going to fold it in half. So now I have this little bitty square shape. Now, after I've folded my paper, I'm going to open it all the way back up. We're going to write on our composition. Those boxes are just to help us out. In fact, let's count how many boxes we just made on our paper. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you should have 16 squares on your piece of paper. And I'm going to put my piece of paper up here on the board so that you can see what I'm going to do with it. Now, when I am writing my composition, it is really important for me to remember that 1 square equals 1 beat. 1 square equals 1 beat. Does 1 square equal 1 sound? No. 1 square equals 1 beat. So look up here, which of my 4 notes could I use that are 1 beat? That's right, I could use my quarter note, I could use my pair of 1/8 notes, or my quarter rest. All 3 of those things on the top are 1 beat. Okay? Now we also need to remember that if you use a half note, 2 squares equal 2 beats. Now, is this going to take up 2 squares? No, because it's 1 beat. But my half note is going to take up 2 beats, or 2 squares, which is what my arrow is helping me remember. Now I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to show you just a little bit of how I can turn these things into a composition. I think I'm going to start my composition with a half note. So if I use a half note, I'm going to draw my half note in the first box. And then just to help my brain out, I'm going to draw an arrow into the second box. Because remember, 2 beats, 2 squares. 2 squares, 2 beats. Now, I have 2 squares left, which means I have 2 beats left. I could use another half note, or I could take 2 of these things on the top. And that's what I think I'm going to do. I am going to use a quarter rest. And if you can't write a quarter rest, that's okay. Just use the letter Z. Then I think I'm going to use a quarter note as my last beat. After I've drawn my line, I'm going to clap it and make sure that I like it. So let's try it. Clap it with me. 2, ta. Good. Okay, and then I'm just going to keep going until I have a full piece of paper with something in every box. And if I use another half note, I'm going to make sure that I have my arrow. Okay, give me just a second and I'm going to finish my composition. All right, all done. Can you read this with me? Let's try it together. 1, 2, clap and say. 2, ta, ta, ta-dee, ta, 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 2, ta-dee, ta-dee, ta, ta-dee. Now, the great thing about this composition is that you can do whatever you want in these boxes, as long as you remember 1 square equals 1 beat, 2 squares equal 2 beats. Now, after you finish your composition, I want you to make sure that you hang on to it because we're going to use it the next time we have music class. So do not lose this piece of paper because it's going to be important the next time that we have class together. When you have completed your composition, I want you to take a picture of it and send it to me, and I'll put my email in the comments and in the video so that you can make sure that you're sending it. I want to see all of your creativity and what you've created. All right, friends, that's all I have for today. Get to writing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.